defenders have been given, like. There's always just that active red line. Defenders have been given, like. There's always just that active red line. Defenders have been given, like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. First things first, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, in some cases, good night. If you're new here, then you might as well turn on your notification bell, subscribe, and all that good things because you're locked in for live. To my usual supporters, whether you're on Twitter, Twitch, or YouTube, you know your support is appreciated. If you're on YouTube, please make sure you're subscribing and smashing the like button. Journey to 70k subs for 2024 is alive and kicking. As usual, appreciative of you lot tuned in. Any questions, talking points, feel no sort of way about getting them in. Now, I know them lot down the road seem to be making progress with signings. With Arsenal, it appears there's nothing imminent. We're currently in Dubai. Hopefully, Edu is close to his phone and he's making moves happen. But nonetheless, there's still some transfer news. Whether we sign these players is a completely different thing. But it's amazing to be here with you lot. And as usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. I hope you're doing well and safe. I hope you're having a progressive week. And I hope you and your loved ones are in great health. And may that continue, people. Big up yourself, CS. Good morning to you as well, my dude. So without wasting any time, let's crack straight on. As I said, any talking points, questions, etc., feel no sort of way to get them in. I need to zoom in a bit. Sasha Boey of Galatasaray. You know, as you know, Arsenal probably looking for a striker long term, need to be looking for a wide man. I would love to sign a midfielder in January. Where defensive bodies, especially fullbacks, our fullbacks have been in line for a lot of criticism or great debate, whether they provide enough support for our wingers, whether the way Mikel Arteta is deploying them is necessarily the best. And obviously, if we get another defensive body dropping in the defensive third of our pitch, we are in big trouble. As we know, Zinchenko's got a knock. Timber's not really played this season because of an injury. We're praying Saliba, Gabriel, Benjamin White, and everybody stays fit for that matter. We've been linked with Sasha Boey before. I do think there's a level of interest. I don't know how affordable he is. Maybe he's something that Arsenal quote-unquote deem such. Allegedly, PSG could rival Arsenal for Sasha Boey signing. Paris Saint-Germain could lose Michele to Bayern Munich this month, according to reports. He could be replaced with Galatasaray Sasha Boey, who is 23 years of age. Skipping past this sort of bit, people, with PSG needing to sell, Arsenal have been linked with him, and apparently the PSG are a fan of Boey and would be interested in bringing him back to France. However, he could be judged too expensive an option, too expensive for PSG. The recession's hitting everyone, isn't it? Boey would only be a backup to first choice Hakimi, and the club are being prudent not to overspend in this position, especially given they are targeting a centre-back and potentially a midfielder during the January transfer window. The Liga champions' pursuit is further complicated by by Premier League interest, notably from Arsenal. The Gunners were among the clubs to have shown an interest last summer, as Boey revealed himself. So why didn't it happen? You know, did we not have the budget? Did we want to monitor him? You know, as we know, being interested in a player is completely different from talking to the player and his advisors and getting bids and fees agreed and ultimately medicals and players signing for the club. We need defensive reinforcements. If we really do have this level of interest in Sasha Boey, which we have been linked with for a few months, you'd imagine we've scouted his strengths, his weaknesses, how he can tie into the team, make it happen, really. You know, as I said, I would love a winger, would love a striker, would love a centre middle too, and would love a defensive option. I think they're all of equal importance. Obviously, I do think there is a correlation with Benjamin White's form and obviously, you know, his injuries. We need a squad. And as you can see, the squad's never too big at the start of the season. Every player that wasn't in the starting lineup, their days are numbered. As the season's gone on, as you can see, you need a squad. Big up yourself, Marcel, because you're part of the furniture. Spurs moving mad in the market. We need to do things. Jordan, I hear you, you know. And I think Werner will do all right for Spurs, but I'm not gonna get ants in my pants over them getting him. Obviously, they got the general lad and beat Bayern Munich to his signing. Spurs are doing competent things, but as we know, January is a reactive window. In an ideal world, not a single manager of any club, in my opinion, would want to sell or sign players because you would have done the bulk of that in August. January is a reactive window, as we know. Obviously, there's deals to be had. There's cut price players. There's loans. I don't know who. There's, players with contracts running down. But generally, there is no deals. Nobody wants to sell key players midway through the season. As we've seen in the cases, if we were to get Osimhen, Ivan Toney, Zubimendi, even though he's got a release clause, Douglas Luiz and Pedro Neto, and the list goes on. Honestly, why is Arteta on transfers? Even De Zerbi said he'd never heard of João Pedro, and Pep said Julian was a club transfer. I'm tired of Arteta being... I can't pronounce that, but you're right to a degree, really and truly. I do believe a manager should have some input because it can go negatively. If a director of football is making the signings and the manager isn't making it work, then who do you blame? But at the same time, it would be nice if we, respectfully to Edu, had an experienced guy that could, in situations like this, had a phone book where he's able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, really. I do understand if Arsenal didn't want to give Arteta the big budget in January or the summer, because while I think the success to failure ratio generally of our signings in the last 18 months has been a bit better, and signings do go wrong, I don't think everything's been justified. Respectfully to Edu, because he does have experience, we're in that unique position where we've got a rookie team with a rookie manager and a rookie technical director. Had we have had a rookie manager and more experienced players, had we had, an experienced director of football to go with the rookie of Mikel Arteta, maybe things would happen. And this is where Edu needs to get with it. But at the same time, I said it yesterday, if you're Edu, who do you blame, really and truly? Because obviously, I don't think Arteta gets his way. I think Edu will leave before Mikel Arteta. Arteta is the manager. He's been given new contracts recently, needs to sign another one, and he's been given a lot of money to spend. But if the manager is saying X, Y, and Z, and you have concerns about these players, but you still bring them in, where are you at with the players, really and truly? This is why I say everybody at this club, they make a big song and dance about collaboration and stuff. Everybody has to share the W's and the L's, in my opinion. And again, you look back in August, did we really do what needed to be done? Was our budget was we treading closer, better yet, to FFP closer to FFP as we were led to believe, really, which has been highlighted in January. Can't understand the Kai Havertz signing. No disrespect to Havertz, because I think he's doing okay. But in terms of getting us closer to achieving what Liverpool and Man City does, don't know how he's got that. If we've got a tight budget, then ultimately Kai Havertz was a risky signing that doesn't move the needle and doesn't really address us in midfield. Shout out to Timber and Declan Rice. Was the resources necessarily required to bring in David Raya at the club, really? And I think when you look at us keeping Reece Nelson, when you look at us probably selling Balogun beyond the obvious, I think we was a lot closer to FFP than led to believe. As I said, I think the signings have been a lot better under Mikel Arteta, and not every player is going to bang, and managers are going to make mistakes. But if we have to watch every penny, then I look at Kai Havertz, I look at Fabio Vieira, I look at Tavares, who allegedly was a club signing, Mikel Arteta said, and Lokonga. Have we got enough bang for our buck? Obviously, when we've done the short-term thing, we haven't necessarily got what's required, really. You look at Pablo Marie, Cedric, Willian, giving Aubameyang a new deal and then ripping it up. There are some L's that we've had to make, really and truly, and it does feel like Mikel Arteta is rewarded with more money for sometimes not justifying all of the wages. But as I said, I think Zinchenko's worked out to a point. Jesus has worked out. Tomiyasu, Partey to a degree, and the list kind of goes on if I haven't said that. Why is Arsenal prioritising a midfielder? Surely a striker should be top priority. I think 50 million for Onana is mad, I can't lie. Probably a bit overpriced, but when you consider the fact that Onana's in his early 20s, Everton did sign him for 33.5 million. I do think there's a lot of strengths. Obviously, in today's day and age, 50 million is the new 10 million, in it. I think we could do a lot worse than actually spend that. Smash the like button. Marcel, I slightly disagree, because I do think Arsenal fans, and I go back to the summer we got Partey, we needed an 8 and a 6. And rightly so, it was kind of put to us that it's either one or the other. Naturally, some people are going to say you need a 6 more, you need an 8 more. I think they're all of equal importance. Now, looking at this season, I think a winger, a striker, a centre mid, and a defensive body, I think they're all equal, really, really and truly. You need all of them. We're not all going to do that in January. I think we need a midfielder. If I'm completely honest with you, I think whatever we say about the attack, I think we would like a striker and a wide man, definitely with the struggles that our wide players are going through right now and the reluctance to really trust Reece Nelson, whether he's the answer or not. But whatever you say about the striker, whatever you say about our defensive options, I personally believe as an Arsenal fan, midfield is where there's the most question marks, because Declan Rice is the only one, in my opinion, that provides positive question marks. How good can he be? You know, obviously we know Declan Rice by the trades of the game is a 6. When are we going to see that number 8? Obviously he's durable. Declan Rice is, you know, long term, he fits in. It's the others around him, you know, Kai Havertz, Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira, guys that can kind of play there but not playing there and have injuries and their own talking points. You know, Jorginho, there's certain games I think he played well against Liverpool, but for every game against Liverpool and actually Newcastle, there's the mistakes against Spurs. There's definitely the first half of him and Zinchenko against Chelsea, so he's not a man you can bet on for at least 20 of the 38 games. El Nene's a nice guy, but again, we're not here to have nice guys. We've just mentioned Kai Havertz. Obviously Odegaard plays in the 10. So that's one man really. And again, Edu and Mikel Arteta, they were both midfielders, so I don't understand it. You know, the game is won and lost in the defensive and final third, as we've seen. You know, we're failing to put balls in the back of the net and defend amicably, but it's the midfield battle 9 times out of 10. And I think Declan Rice is the only one that, whether it's sunny, raining, you know, whatever tactics Mikel Arteta wants to do, whatever team we're playing, Declan Rice can be utilised. We don't have that. I'm a big fan of Thomas Partey. I'm sure a lot of you lot are. But when you think of Partey, even though he was fit for 40 games last season, 33 in the league, you think of injuries, and there is an air of doubt about his long-term future at the club. So you're right, we need central midfield. For me, I think we need another number 6 that can deputise ahead of Declan Rice or play with him if the game demands that. I think we need another number 8 that, you know, yeah, every professional footballer should be able to play when there's time on the ball. But I want a number 8 that when the team are pressing you, when you've lost the ball, have you got the confidence to try that again? I really do think we need that. I think that will help Martinelli out a lot, even though Martinelli needs to buck up his own ideas. So you're right. And this is what I mean. I think everything is of equal importance. There's no one is more than the other. Had we have got a Pedro Neto or one of these kind of wingers, you know, you can pull Saka out the firing line. You can pull Martinelli out the firing line. Not that Trossard's exactly in the firing line, but you can pull him out. Had we have got a striker that gets 20 odd goals, you know, we might have still had the same concerns we had about we've had Arsenal historically, but we might have beaten Newcastle, Aston Villa, Liverpool in the FA Cup and kept it moving really and truly. I do think everybody needs to share the workload. Mikel Arteta himself said a few months ago, we need to be a team that gets 100 goals. And I did think there's too much volatility. I do like the project we're doing in relation to what Mikel Arteta has done, but if we're looking at by the lens of winning a Premier League, you need more answers than questions. Saka is the only one out of them attackers, and even he's struggling, that has shown me you're anything close to a proven goal scorer, because you've done that the last few years. Odegaard and Martinelli had your first kind of standout year. Obviously, Trossard can chip in. Jesus, in theory, is probably going to get you 13, 14, but has shown if there's any mediocre aspect of his game, it's obviously putting the ball in the back of the net. Even if we get a striker that's getting 20, 30, the other have to chip out, and goals win games. Ultimately, goals turn some defeats into draws, some draws into 3 points, and ultimately win games really. Defensively, as we said, anything happens to some defenders, we're in trouble. And you know, that's why I want a wide man. You know, even if in an ideal world, I'm not expecting a striker in January, but if you could get a defender, a midfielder, and a winger, I'm for that, because it means you can, you know, and when I say winger, someone that's genuinely that Arteta believes in. They don't necessarily have to be better than Saka or Martinelli, but someone that can genuinely make a difference, someone that genuinely Mikel Arteta is going to trust. No disrespect to Reece Nelson. He's Haaland. I like him. I do think he's one of those players on the peripheral that has quote unquote somewhat taken his chances, but you've played 87 minutes. You know, this last, I want to say month, but we're in January now, December/January, we're kind of saying the same things about the games, especially about our wide men. If you had a Pedro Neto or someone like that, maybe Martinelli comes out and Neto goes on the left. Maybe Saka comes out. I don't think Nelson is trusted like that. You've played 87 minutes. Would even like to see Smith Rowe go back on the left-hand side as well. I feel a bit unfair saying Arteta doesn't necessarily trust his squad, but just me as an ignorant fan, you bet on this squad, and I don't really see it. There's a lot of decent players, but how many players in this Arsenal team, especially when you're being harsh, you're just talking about a league, can you really bet on? For me, Saka, Saliba, Declan Rice, they're the first 3 that come to mind. Zinchenko, for all his faults, you've won a league title, so there's a degree of experience there. Jesus to a certain degree. Obviously, Jorginho should be on the peripheral of things, but there's you could throw him into that. I don't think Ramsdale and Raya are necessarily a problem. Obviously, Gabriel does his thing, and there's a couple of other players. I love Wondergaard. I personally think the whole team's been struggling, but I do sometimes question whether fans actually watch games, because the amount of heat that I've seen thrown the way of Odegaard, I don't necessarily believe it. Hwang from Wolves is a top 9. He's a bad boy, but are Wolves going to let him go? I wouldn't mind Pedro Neto. His injury record worries me. Yeah, it does. And obviously, when you apply a slight bit of Arsenal tax, I don't think anyone expects him to be fit consistently. Big up the Arsenal perspective. Appreciate you. Keep your thoughts coming. And if you're on YouTube, smash the like button. One love to everyone on Twitch. Big up DG. But if we don't get a proper striker, it doesn't make no sense. We're going backwards. We've got enough midfielders. We just don't use them. If we can't score, we'll never win. It's obvious. It's true. But, and I agree with you, you get a 20, 30 goal a season bagsman, yeah? It makes our fortunes a lot better. But we can't look at man like he's Jesus and he's the Messiah and things, because when he misses that chance or doesn't pull it in, the other players need to back up their ideas. You know, City would look a lot different if it was just on Haaland to back. Obviously, Haaland gets the goals and things like that, but the other players chip in, and that's why they've been winning titles way before Haaland. You look at Liverpool, obviously Mo Salah's goals made the difference, and I wouldn't say Firmino was strong in that regards, but Firmino was chipping in. On the left-hand side, you had Mane and things like that. Even with Spurs, not that they've accomplished anything, you had Kane bagging his goals regardless of the weather, you know, and then obviously you had the Sons and whatnot chipping in. So again, we do need that. But if we're talking about winning a league title, we need confirmation over key players. We need a striker that's going to bag 100%. You know, Saliba in defense and Gabriel, we know you lot are kind of reliable. Declan Rice, we know what you're bringing to the table. Saka, I know it's not quite happening, but you make the difference. We do need that. But I'm not going to lie, midfield is not patterned. You say we've got enough midfielders. Is it a case of quantity rather quality? Because I don't think any of these midfielders are bad players. But for me, Jorginho's a man that's on the peripheral. You will get games, but you're not someone. I want players that 25, 30 of the 38 Premier League games. I know there's a level of consistency. As I said, Declan Rice, it does not matter what Arteta wants to do tactically, whether we're playing Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Spurs, teams fighting for their lives, Declan Rice can be utilised. When you look at Jorginho, El Nene, you know, they've got injury issues of their own and had that. There's certain conditions for them. Thomas Partey, I don't know for Arsenal fans, but I'm a bit bored of, especially Tomiyasu and Partey, where we speak about injuries and when they're fit and stuff. We've seen this before. We keep going over the same kind of thing. So I think we need a central midfielder. Obviously, I do. This is why I said they're all of equal importance. You know, I'm prepared in an ideal world. You get me a defender, you get me a midfielder, you get me a winger. I might say, all right, cool. You know what? Other players buck up your ideas. You get another winger that's going to get 10 or so goals. I'm not saying we're going to win the league or miss an opportunity, but we can move with that until the summer. Really, I don't see the point in signing it. Like, if you offer me, of course, I want a striker. Insert any name you want, but if you offer me a striker and we're not getting a centre middle defender, I'm quite concerned. If I'm honest, I don't think a striker is the Messiah. But yeah, DG, what do you think about an elder statsman in Benzema or Firmino for a 6-month loan? Well, bring them in it. Really, bring them. What else we got? Bring them. Bring Benzema. At least we'll look wavy in it. Firmino, way Brazilian. So I'm for that. Maddison was there for us. I hear it, but for me, it's the Kudus tick, man. Really, if I'm completely honest. What's up with that Zubamendi? That's gone quiet. Seems like the same thing from last year in that he's got a release clause. My man don't want to leave mid-season. When you look at the summer, he's linked with last summer. He was linked with Man United, with Arsenal, with a few teams. Why didn't he move? Was a move further away than led to believe? Did he want to stay at Sociedad? I don't know, man. But it does. Rightly so, it's gone quiet because my man's not going to sign him. We're not going to sign him. Even with that, you can activate his release clause. But if he says, I want to stay, it is what it is. DG, I'm saying bun FFP, spend the bread to get the right players, deal with the consequences later. I can't lie, even though I think that's naive, I'm with that as well, man. Just get some creative accounting. It's amazing that we still haven't sorted out our spine. We was naive. I'm sorry. But I think we was naive to assume Martinelli and Odegaard was going to get them goals. I think it was naive to consider just the over-reliance on Bukayo Saka, which has been the case of a few years. You know, not properly fixing up our squad because we've seen what happens with injuries. As much as I think Eddie's okay and Jesus is the guy, ultimately there's no goal scorers there. I have no faith in Jesus or Zinchenko. Never wanted none of them, and they're proving why right now. Bit harsh. Both get injured a lot and both don't do their jobs they're brought in to do. It makes no sense. But at the same time, I agree with you, but playing devil's advocate, Jesus has never shown he's a bagsman. So why are we trying to do the Disneyland thing where we sign my man, we put romance behind it and say we believe you can score goals? Why don't we accept Jesus for what he is at the point of signing him, like what City did? You're a good squad player, you can be utilised, but you're not the bagsman. Zinchenko has never shown us that you can defend amicably. So and with them lot and their experience, I said it in the last stream, this is where I start to believe, obviously, Zinchenko's got to improve defensively. Jesus, you've got to start scoring, etc., etc. But to a degree, is it not about accepting players for what they are? And then obviously having players that can do the job. Like Jesus, you can help us. You might score 1, 2, 3, few goals, but you're not going to make the difference. Zinchenko, when the sun is shining at the Emirates, you're our guy. When you're rocking up and playing West Ham, when you're playing Liverpool, when you're playing any team with decent attackers, I'm not saying Zinchenko can't play well in those games, but you're not the one. I'm not sure. I've got faith in Zinchenko and Jesus. I think they're two valued squad players, but I think we need to learn from City and kind of just make them valued squad members rather than first names on the team sheet, really. You know, you need to learn from what other people did. Keeping up the theme with fullbacks, Arsenal are determined to sign Jeremy Frimpong and plan to activate his £34 million release clause this summer. Everything's happening in the summer, innit? We're doing this, we're doing that in the summer. Allow it, man. For me, sorry, not Firmino. I'm excited about signing Firmino. Frimpong is at the top of Arsenal's list to reinforce at right back, and the club see the release clause as an opportunity that they cannot miss. I'm all for Frimpong. If you could have Frimpong, Tomiyasu, and Timber with the ability to play across the defensive line, Benjamin White as well, I'm all for that. 34 million for a homegrown talent. I know he's Dutch, but I'm sure he's at City. I'm all for that, really and truly. But I don't think we're the only ones on the case. Liverpool are eyeing him up as well. I can't lie, Frimpong. Let me chat to you. You think you're going to play ahead of Trent? They're not going to start Trent in midfield. You can take Benjamin White's place. There's game time for you here, man. You don't want to go Man United. You see him what they're doing. You really trust Ten Hag? He's just because he's bold don't mean he's a good manager like Pep. You know, listen. Come London. But anyways, it's believed Frimpong is wanted by Man United and Arsenal following his impressive performances for Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. Xabi Alonso's side are aware of growing interest in the Netherlands international ahead of a possible switch at the end of the season. The Netherlands international will reportedly be available later this year via a release clause of 34 million quid, people. And he's shown he can play in a bunch of roles. And he would give a lot to Saka because he's more attacking. And to be honest with you, I want to see Timber back because I do think there's a reality where you've got Timber left back, Tomiyasu right back, or you've got Tomiyasu left back, and then you've got Timber and Saka combining. We need options, people. For what it's worth, allegedly Frimpong's got 7 goals and 10 assists across 22 appearances this season, people. I mean, it wouldn't be fair if Liverpool got him and had Trent. It'd be crazy, really and truly. Can Frimpong actually play left back as well? I'm not too sure. But we'll have to see in that regards. No clue why this Sky Sports thing is here. Apparently, ahead of the summer transfer window, Arsenal are keeping an eye on Newcastle striker Alexander Isak. Yeah, mate, keep an eye on him. I'm keeping an eye on Shenseea and Jada Kingdom and what's going on with Burner Boy. It don't mean I'm going to get either one. You know, we tried to buy him before. Arsenal manager and sporting director Mikel Arteta and Edu are admirers of the striker for a long time. He's currently got 23 goals for the Magpies in 49 appearances in all comps. Football Transfers has reported that because of FFP limitations, Newcastle need to be ready to entertain bids for some of their most key players going forward in order to balance their books and avoid punishment. It's probably why you've seen Bruno Gomares linked to Paris Saint-Germain. Now, Newcastle got a good project. They are struggling a bit this year, a bit like us, with the introduction of returning back to the Champions League, but there's no reason to want to leave. And sooner rather than later, they're going to be able to spend money. And if they're going to sell to a Premier League rival, you need a top bracket. So, yeah, we can admire Isak as much as we want, but it's a bit of a myth. This was the initial article, people, that said such. Apparently, the Gunners are expressing a keen interest in securing the services of the Swedish striker, although there's no confirmation of an imminent January signing. We are told that Isak is highly rated within Arsenal's recruitment team, with head coach Arteta and technical director Edu keeping tabs on the former Sociedad and Dortmund man. Allegedly, we targeted him during the summer of 2022, aiming to reignite him with Martin Odegaard. Obviously, they were together at Sociedad. However, negotiations faltered at the time due to concerns over the player's release clause, which Arsenal deemed too high, and he eventually moved to Newcastle for 58 million quid, rising to 63 million. Surely, I'm not going to lie, with the striker market, whether Isak's worth it or not, surely Newcastle are going to say, you know what, 100 million. Maybe if you can throw Ramsdale or Smith Rowe or someone in, we can talk, but 100 million, if you ain't got that, bust out. And the only mark I can put against Isak's name is injuries, and you throw a little Arsenal tax into that, we might never see my man. But at 24 years of age, decent player, 19 goals in the league across 37 matches so far, allegedly for Newcastle. So I have to see. But I just think that's a mixture of us needing a striker, having an admiration for Isak previously, and just both teams with the FFP stuff. I think that's just a case of creative journalism, if I'm completely honest with you lot. Why has there been no links to Yusuf Fofana? Go grab my man, people. Arsenal banned from signing Ajax defender Hato this month, allowing transfer rivals to swoop for team sensation. Arsenal are one of a number of clubs interested in Ajax defender Hato, although they'll be unable to make a move this month. Apparently, he's already twice captained Ajax, people, and he could join a major club in Germany or Spain. Timber, chat to him. Apparently, due to post-Brexit immigration rules, he's 17 and he can't move until he turns 18. I think we knew that. Anyways, don't mean you can't agree something for the summer. Can play as a centre-half as well as a left-back. He's already got 40 appearances at 17 years of age and a single cap already, people, for Holland. So I think we'd all love that. We'd all love that. But whether we're able to sign him is a completely different matter. They should have gotten him a long time ago, just like Kudus and Diaby. I hear that. No trophies are won this year. I hear it, but we did win. We did win the Super Cup. What about Benzema? I mean, Benzema, bro, you're getting Saudi money. There's no need. But if Benzema is on helping us out, depending on the conditions of the deal, why not, man? There's a lot of strikers there that we can go for. Omar Mamush or that Stuttgart striker. People just aren't doing their jobs. I hear it, and I'm not saying these are the wrong strikers, but you can't make desperation just make you want anyone. Boniface is injured at the moment. I think Benzema is not possible for what it's worth as well. Come on, if you wanted Isak, we would have never allowed him to wear the white and black. There you have it. Bro, to be honest, I'm done with this. Hey, Len, you're either good enough or you're not. Every player that's wear the shirt should be ready to perform at the high level. In my opinion, Arteta will get sacked if no trophies are won this year. I disagree because I think the club will say, you know what, the project is ticking along. You know, I don't think Arteta is going to live or die, rightly or wrongly, by winning a Premier League trophy. I do think there should be natural question marks if, you know, we're getting worse in defense, we're getting worse in attack, we finish lower than we did last season, dependent on how far or how close we run this title campaign. Obviously, the opportunity to win silverware, you're wishing on a star, really and truly. The Champions League is a pipe dream. So where are you at with the Premier League, which is also a pipe dream? FA Cup's gone, League Cup's gone. It does feel like we make issues of our own. Kay, appreciate that. I'm doing well and safe. Timber's going to play left back, a little less creative than Zini, but much better defensively. I personally think, though, yeah, don't get twisted. I do like when Zinchenko's on form and he inverts in midfield, but I might be being a bit naive here. If you want to be a Premier League champion, but more so last season, is it really feasible to have a striker that isn't going to score goals and be anywhere else? Is it really feasible, especially at times last season and this year when Zinchenko's not there and we say, oh, we're missing creativity? He's a left back. And the better we get, if we fix out our midfield, if people start doing what they need to do in the creative world, yeah, if Zinchenko comes, it gets back into form. It's an added layer, but we shouldn't live or die by a left back's creativity. You know, Trent isn't the best of defender, but, you know, what he does is a bonus in that regard. It's not like Zinchenko provides that really and truly. And even with that, Trent is the creative hub of Liverpool, but there's other dons creating really and truly. I think there's too much of an over-reliance on stuff like that, if I'm honest. I'd like if we got Jonathan David. I'm not really keen on him, but there you have it. Benzema's getting a lot of love there. I actually think if we had a player like Benzema or Ronaldo, we'd win the league. I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think it's going to take a lot more than that. It's going to take a lot more than that. Really and truly, there's a lot of things I believe we need to arrest on the training ground before we talk about any of that. For what it's worth, allegedly, Inter Milan are willing to cash in on Arsenal and Chelsea target Lautaro Martinez for a fee of 80 million. Wasn't he close to signing a new deal? And I don't believe anything out of Italy regarding anything, man. But I wouldn't mind Lautaro Martinez. Apparently, at this moment in time, the 26-year-old is out of contract in 2 years, and he's believed to be in talks over a new deal. There you have it. Last week, he allegedly said to reporters, there's not long to go before we can sign the renewal. It's down to the details. We are talking and on the right track. So there you have it, really and truly. Unless it's something ridiculous, then it's a myth. As you know, Arsenal are currently out in Dubai, people. Hopefully, they come back and do better. We have also been linked with Onana. Reports out of Belgium have said talks are quite currently close, but the Mirror's Ryan Taylor has kind of poured cold water on it. Arsenal are yet to open talks with Everton over a potential deal for Onana. While the 22-year-old midfield powerhouse is a player that's been tracked by the Gunners, there's been no active movement regarding a January transfer at this moment. Reports in Belgium have been peddling that discussions are now underway between the two clubs, but Mirror Football understands that is not the case. It's no secret Arsenal have been hamstrung by FFP regulations following a £208 million transfer spree last summer, and their net spend has amounted to nearly 400 million in the past 3 calendar years. They are therefore operating diligently this month. As such, a big money transfer for Onana does not currently seem feasible, even if he would immediately improve their options in the middle of the park. Everton are thought to be open to offers for the former Leal midfielder, as a sale would help Obviously, the club's financial straits following their 10-point deduction for breaching the Premier League profit and sustainability rules. Chelsea are also admirers of Onana, who joined Everton for £33.5 million in August of 2022. Despite the fact there's been little movement on Onana, Arsenal will be ready to make their mark in the market if an opportunity that is too good to turn down presents itself. A potential arrival at left back, loan arrival at left back, remains under consideration, whoever that is. However, unless something drastic changes, such as a significant player sale, it is expected to be a quiet month at the Emirates, and there is full faith that Arsenal's fortunes will improve once key players return from injuries and international commitments. We've heard this numerous times, man. You know, I can't lie. That full faith comment, if you didn't know it was the 2023-24 season and I put up a poster of the last 3 or so years and we played a bingo game, that could be applied to any sort of year. Anyways, people, away from my thoughts, Crystal Palace remain interested in a deal for Eddie Nketiah, but he is not actively for sale. It would take a sizable offer to get Arsenal talking. One man who could go at the right price is Emil Smith-Rowe, who is again suffering from a lack of playing time, but there's been little interest in the 23-year-old to date. Again, he is not actively transfer listed. The same applies to Aaron Ramsdale, and Arteta has already made it clear he would like to keep the England international at least until the end of the season, when his future will be reconsidered. Arsenal already have a clear idea about their summer transfer targets, with Ivan Toney and Martin Zubimendi among those at the top of their agenda. But this summer better be lit, you know. This summer better be, yeah, we're signing everyone in the summer, really. I don't think even Real Madrid getting Mbappe can talk to us if half of these names are being signed. Everything's in the summer. You're lying, man. Get your money up, man. What's going on? Allegedly, Toney wants to join and would pick the Gunners over Chelsea if the Blues were to formalise interest. He is now expected to stay at Brentford until the end of the season. A wide player is also of interest, with Pedro Neto a long-term target, while Ajax defender Hato is also on the club's radar, although the Amsterdam Giants are confident of tying the 17-year-old, who has already captained the side this term, down to a new contract. And for him, is there any rush to leave Ajax? Don't get twisted, I want you to sign for Arsenal, but how many 17-year-olds can say they've been capped by their country, play for their club on a day-in, day-out basis, basically played every minute, and all of those sort of things? You know, you're 17, you will get that move. I do think in today's day and age, a young player's on the scene for 2 minutes, he has to sign for a big club. You're developing. I won't quite say you're developing away from pressure, because Ajax a big club, but it's very different if you sign for an Arsenal, a Liverpool, a Manchester City, United, Chelsea, a Spurs. Now I'm lying with the Spurs one. They never did it, but you get the point, people. Arsenal are ready to make an official offer for Kerem Aktürkoğlu. Forgive me, my Turkish fans. The Galatasaray attacker has been on the Amsterdam club's wish list for some time. Why have we got this? What has this got to do with Arsenal? Okay, so Ajax are beating us to this signing. We've been linked with him before, scrolling all the way down. Apparently, the parties are expected to meet on Wednesday. Aktürkoğlu has been playing for Galatasaray since the summer of 2020, when he was signed on a free transfer, blah, blah, blah. He's made 140 appearances for them, scoring 37 times and get 38 assists. This season, he's got 8 goals and as many assists in 30 games. Ajax allegedly are not the only team he's drawing interest from: Arsenal, Spurs and West Ham. The 25-year-old could offer very good cover at the Emirates, although primarily a left winger. Aktürkoğlu can feature across all the front line and would provide solid backup for Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, and perhaps even Jesus. I hear that. And we've also been, well, West Ham have been linked with me as Bourgeois could be coming back to the Prem, really. Arsenal should seriously consider selling Partey if an offer comes in. I mean, we've heard this before. The 30-year-old has only played 4 times, which is crazy this season, people. And I think we tried to get him moved on. I think Partey will move on next summer, rightly or wrongly. Arsenal have abandoned any plans to sign a right back in January, as they are now ready to wait until the summer transfer window in order to buy Frimpong. I mean, if you get Frimpong in the summer, Hato in the summer, a centre mid, a right winger and a striker, you're probably looking at over the 200 million we spent last summer. And I don't know if we're able to do that, but fair enough. Once again, we know Frimpong's got a £40 million release clause that becomes active in July. You'd imagine Boniface could be on the move as well as Frimmy. You know, could we just get Xhaka back? But I don't know, people. We've already seen that, so I won't bore you lot with that. We already know Ivan Toney with that. What have we got here? We've already seen Arsenal allegedly want to be in the loan market. Keep your opinions coming. Apparently, TalkSport has said Aaron Ramsdale is expecting to stay at Arsenal at least until the summer. The 25-year-old has admirers at both Chelsea and Newcastle, but neither club are targeting spending big on a goalkeeper this window. I think you need to look at what Leno's done, and better yet, Martinez, with the greatest of respect to definitely Aston Villa and Fulham. You go to Chelsea. Listen, Chelsea's a big club. It's London. they'll get it. I don't want them to, but Chelsea will get this project going again. You know, they will be back in the Champions League. I couldn't begrudge Aaron Ramsdale for wanting to make that move. And I'm not saying he's better or worse than Kepa or Sanchez, but if you assume that Kepa isn't bought permanently from Real Madrid, they just bought Sanchez from Brighton, and they'd have Ramsdale, it's an even more complicated situation than you've got at Arsenal at this moment in time. If you go to Newcastle, I'm sure if he was available on loan, Newcastle will take you now, but you've got Nick Pope there. Ramsdale was once linked with Wolves. Surely it's worth taking a leaf out of the book of Emi Martinez's play, in the sense of, respectfully to Aston Villa, he took a step down, he's playing, and Aston Villa have a great project. Respectfully, I do think Emi Martinez is one of the best keepers in the Premier League and is good enough to play for a Champions League club. Obviously, if Aston Villa do that, then it's fine. We have been linked with Spinazzola before, as he's got 6 months left on his contract at Roma, and his agent has come out and said he's keeping it moving. He had Aston Villa. Romano has said he's actually not on Aston Villa's shortlist. So you'd imagine rumours of him signing for Arsenal are going to ramp up. Romano has also said not just Crystal Palace. Many clubs are interested in Eddie Nketiah, but it's not easy for Arsenal to find a striker on the market right now. You reckon they won't go for a panic buy in a crucial position? They won't do something unless they're 100% convinced about it. It's not an easy market. Smash the like button, big up the Twitch ones. We know it's not an easy market. And that's why before they give the green light to Nketiah, they have to find another option on the market. All the players they like, for example, Ivan Toney, are very expensive or not available on the market, like Osimhen. As you know, it looks like he'll move on in the summer. Pardon me, Ben Jacobs has also weighed in on the Ivan Toney stuff and said Arsenal are not currently in talks for Ivan Toney, even though many fans feel he'd be the perfect fit. Apologies. What's true, though, is Toney would welcome an approach from Arsenal. There is no guarantee, much like Chelsea, will sign a striker now as opposed to waiting until the summer. And in Toney's case, it's just a very expensive outlay to make anything happen. Brentford want 80+ million, and some sources even indicate they would hold out for 100 million before even entertaining an offer that's out of Arsenal's budget for January. Toney has also said on record he feels he owes Brentford for their support during his ban for gambling breaches, so it's more likely at this stage he stays at Brentford in January. This is also down to the fact Brentford need him to help them further clear of the relegation zone. Remember, when Mbeumo is injured and Wisa is at the Africa Cup of Nations with DR Congo, this will make them even more reluctant to sell Toney now. A new Toney contract at Brentford also can't be ruled out, but the challenge is matching his desired wage. But Brentford don't feel in any rush, and although it's true Toney is starting to plan for his next move, free agency in 2025 is not impossible either. Many clubs interested. What's this? Is this relation to Eddie Nketiah once again? We've gone over that. Big up Eddie, but your disposable goods. What is this? This seems like the Sun, a little newspaper column of Arsenal. Arteta has control of Arsenal signings. Of course he does. So any successes or failures is down to him, people, really and truly. Well, Wenger flew in right to Paris to tell him to leave Arsenal. Did him dirty. I mean, we're in Dubai. You'd imagine Arteta is going to allow them a break. Sagler is dreaming of Mbappe to Arsenal. I'm dreaming of a day and mixed drinks with Kelly Rowland. It's not possible. We know we're looking at a fullback. We know we've been linked with young Hato. Arsenal could move for Pedro Neto this summer, according to the Daily Mail. I mean, we've tried to get him before, really. We know we want Zubimendi. Apparently, Ivan Toney has his heart set on a move to Arsenal. Whether that happens, another thing. Less said on Marquinhos, the better. So it's a bit of a myth. Osimhen's agents hit out at the agent of a teammate, really and truly, people. I'm not going to, in fact, you know what, let's read it. Everyone must look in their own home and have respect for the work of others. It's not correct to talk about the future of other players. This because he said he would go, his agent, KK's agent said Osimhen would go to the Middle East. This creates problems and misunderstandings as well as unfortunate predictions. Fair enough, really and truly. Fair enough. I reckon Osimhen's heading to Chelsea, but nonetheless, that's that. Oh gosh, we forgot to go over the Boniface stuff, people. Where is this Boniface? Crap. Boniface. There we go. Sorry. Oh gosh, I stopped sharing the screen. Big up you lot, people. I hope you're getting the creative juices flowing. Osimhen said he was a fan of Chelsea growing up. Boniface has said he's a fan of Arsenal on the John Obi Mikel podcast. Come to the Emirates, man. Come to the Emirates, man. And any 6 Nigerian young players you've got, let's get this thing going, because we've been looking at Osimhen since he was 17. You know, Osimhen, Kelechi, who's the other Nigerian youth? Chuck Wheezy, all these guys, like, bring them. We need to start messing with a French club. Oh, something's in my eye. A French club, a Portuguese club. a Belgian club, anywhere that's a bit relaxed on work permits. Find these young players, house them there. When they're able to get these work permits, bring them. He spoke on Granit Xhaka and what he's doing at Leverkusen. But in relation to Arsenal, he said, I grew up supporting Arsenal because of one person, Kanu. I loved watching Arsenal because of Kanu. It's the thing that where a Nigerian player plays, you tend to support your own. Now, when you watch the kids coming up, everybody because of me, Victor, everybody has moved to Chelsea. What does that mean, my guy? But fair enough. Boniface, chat to Xhaka. Let's get this going, man. But as you know, being an Arsenal fan is not enough, really and truly. You can support Arsenal as much as you want. You know, we need to get fees agreed. And as we know, the striker market is on the floor. So anyone that's got a half-decent striker, it's going to cost top money, whether that is Osimhen, Ivan, Tony, who else is there? Isak, because we've linked with him, Boniface. So, you know, I'm sure I've missed out a lot of names and you lot can help me in that regard. Big up you lot, man. Man said Cristiano Ronaldo on loan, his wages might bankrupt us. I mean, at this point, why not? But Cristiano Ronaldo's a myth. Boniface's goal celebration is hard, I can't even lie. Nothing wrong with signing Benzema, just like Man United signing Hendrik Larsson to get over the line. Assuming Benzema wants to leave, man, you know, you've achieved everything in the European game. You're getting money. Why can't be part of this? We have no money. Nothing is going to happen. Why are the comments coming up? StreamYard's doing me dirty, people. This is annoying. Big up you lot in the comments. You know, our technical difficulties. Big up Gent next door. There we have it. Boniface does look like a top talent. I think we're all dreaming of winning the lottery, Marcel. Tell him again, man. Give me Bruno Gomares any day of the week. It's true, but that boat's gone. And I mean, I don't know what's going on at Arsenal, but for me, I would have loved Maddison, but I'll leave that one. But Paqueta, Bruno Gomares, Kudus, to a degree, Diaby, these man could have helped us still. These man could have helped us. Think Tony would be better for us than Osimhen. People like Osimhen, but he isn't Premier League proven, and Osimhen is slightly different than what would be the perfect striker for us. Also, the release clause. I hear you, but every striker has got to risk people because we've signed players that are Premier League proven and been meaty. And in Osimhen's defense, he wasn't prolific per se in Germany, but he's shown he can live in different countries. Been France, been Germany, been Italy, and thrived. Every striker has a risk. I don't know where we stand on the Prem proven thing because you are right. Ivan Toney is that, and that also is an aid. But at a point, he only had 3 non-penalty goals more than Jesus. I'm not knocking that. I just don't think any of them are the golden boys. I don't think any striker has 100% confirmation. I would love Osimhen, but I think he's had 14 injuries, and I don't know if he'll, you know, I don't know if there's a bit of Premier League tax to be applied to what he's doing in Serie A. I like Tony, but is he the guy? Is it necessarily value for money? I wouldn't be against going back for Vlahovic, but he ain't been, you know, pulling up any trees. I do like Boniface, but, you know, and you did do it at your previous club, but you seem like one of these guys that's been doing it for 12, 18 months. Every player has a risk, man. Isak is good, but not good enough. The only knock I would have over Isak is injuries, man. Man, RP Eusebio, man, like, man. I think we could move Timber to CDM. He has the ability, like partying, good at passing and dribbling. It's true, but listen, just play fullback and defense first, man. And then when we pattern up, do things. The probability is rising for Arteta getting sacked. If they don't win, players will start questioning. Players like Gabriel, Saka, White, even Rice will start to believe Arteta's not the guy. I mean, it seems like they're quite convinced at the moment. I do think in a couple of years, if you're them guys there, you might have to want to move, but they're all tied down under contracts and they're probably in love with Arteta's project. And at the same time, even though the manager has to face the music, the players are the ones playing. And, you know, the players have let themselves down as well, if I'm completely honest. AV isn't a step down. They have a better coach. The coach we should have kept. I don't think we should have kept Emre. Big up to him. I just think, you know, it was the right thing, really. I do think Arteta is better for our project. Arteta has shown he can fix up the club. But whether he's able to win us a league title, delivering big competitions, which would have been the case with Emre, is where the debate's now gone. And I don't think Arsenal are going to sack Mikel Arteta because they want to win stuff. I just think they're kind of happy that, you know, the club's relatively healthy versus a few years ago. Don't shoot me. That's what I believe. Big up yourself, Steve, for the super chat. Man said, hands off my guy, Isak. In all seriousness, if we mess up and finish 10th, Isak and Bruno might dip. They might, and it's the belly of the beast. But I think people are convinced with the Newcastle project right now. I think they're probably saying, you know what, give us a couple of years. We'll make things happen in that regards. And they're going to need big money. You know, Isak's going to cost stupid money. Bruno Gomares is going to cost stupid money. Respectfully, it's not like Newcastle under Alan Pardew. You're actually moving in song. Horacio Benzema now, Boniface in the summer, along with Hato, Frimpong, Thuram, and Fufana. Dream Jason, but we love that. Frimpong is dead. I'm cool with Hato and Diamande. Bring Diamande. He's a player. He packed United in the Champions League. I like him. Onana is so average, pointless signing. We ain't winning anything with him coming in. I hear that, but I always like, what's wrong with being average? You look at Arsenal teams, probably not City, but Arsenal teams, Liverpool team, United teams, anyone that's won anything, has every player been amazing to scream and shout about? If you're average, just be consistent and competent, innit? There's many players I love at Arsenal that are legends that weren't the be all and end all. You know, if you get Declan Rice as certified number 8, you've got Onana and someone else. It's like 2 6s and 2 genuine 8 options. I'm happy with that. I like Eddie, but don't think he is as experienced and technical. You're talking about Eddie or Edu. Eddie and Nketiah is just not levels. It's unfortunate. Unless Eddie and Nketiah is at that point where if you're not going to get 15, 20 league goals, it's not going to happen here. I think if he goes somewhere else, he will show his quality and do his thing, but we can't wait anymore to a degree. We need a bagsman. Oh, Nana ain't it. He just ain't it. I don't think he moves the goalpost, but I don't think he's a bad player. Man didn't play Ozil for looking too lazy on the field, but signed Havertz, the most nonchalant player I've ever seen in my life, and kept Eddie but sold Aubameyang. Aubameyang was released. And respectfully, Fire, out of all the criticisms you can have for Havertz, I agree he looks nonchalant, but he's nothing like Ozil in that regards. Like, Ozil ran about a lot, but Havertz gets stuck in. There's a lot of question marks over Havertz, and I'm definitely with you with that, but I can't accuse Kai Havertz of being lazy. That's one thing I'll give him. Ramsdale needs to go. Poor guy. He's a better keeper. Raya isn't tall enough to play keeper. I mean, football's a funny old game. I think it's less of the height thing with Raya. Raya don't have that presence, that aura when he walks. But we're saying that. I mean, to be fair with you, if you've cut out a career at Brentford, you're at Arsenal, you're playing for Spain relatively in their squad, you're doing all right. If people can't say you're a goalie, people. I just think Raya is one of those keepers where you're just questionable in terms of the traditional art of being a goalie. You can do the ball playing thing, and shout out to Ramsdale, because I wish Ramsdale got that assist against Liverpool for Nelson, because people would have been, you know, if Raya did that, it would have been crazy. And I do think Ramsdale needs to go, because obviously you're not going to get in the side, man. Elite talking points from you lot. If Mbappe goes Madrid, they're going to be unstoppable. And they're going to sign the next one, the kid. There's rumors they're going to get Alphonso Davies. You know, they've got Vinicius, Rodrigo, Endrick, Arda Güler, Jude Bellingham, Tchouameni. But hey, it's crazy, man. It's nice for some, man. Onana obviously would allow us not to panic in the summer when we have to replace Partey and possibly Jorginho. I thought this guy quit YouTube. Watch the video. That, you know, that their videos are a social experiment. It shows who watches and who listens and who's unable to. But good news, I'm here to stay, mate. We're not going nowhere. Unpopular opinion, but we should wait till the summer. It's Arteta's fault we're in this position. I'd rather wait and get a top striker than rush in to grab one now. I agree. I'd rather support Ipswich. Harsh, man. FA Cup gone now. Say it ain't so. What happened there? I thought it was your trophy. We've won it 14 times. We'll loan it out. Make sure you win it, though. But DG, we don't want this team getting into the toes down phase. We'd be looking at Europa League if this happens. Any player that's dropping there, listen, is the League Cup gone? And the FA Cup, as Marcel's bantering, 100%. Does the Premier League look like an impossible dream? 100%. If I think the Prem is impossible, so God knows what the champs means. Fix up. Because what we're going to do, everyone's just going to pack up things now. You know, yes, we've done some things good this season. We've shot ourselves in the foot. It could be better. It could be worse. We might look back in May and say December where it's won a loss. We are going to drop more points like other things. But what we're going to do, cry like some pussios. Everybody fix up. Everyone do some soul searching. Everyone do some real soul searching in front of a mirror. Forgive yourself for what's gone wrong. Pat yourself on the back because we could have been in a worse position, and get effing on with it, really and truly. And that goes for the manager, the players, the coaching staff, because we need to go back to basics. Not defending well. Not defending. This is why I got a lot of heat. I said we're an improved defensive side. We're not necessarily a good defensive side. Yeah, statistically we could be, but the errors leading to goal. And when I look at, again, in terms of the rebuild, big that up. But when you're looking at winning a Premier League title, do I think we defend to the caliber of a Premier League title winning side? And defending goes for everybody, same way attacking. No. Do we score 100 league goals like Mikel Arteta wants? I'm even onto Mikel Arteta because some of you would have seen a video, an edited video I did where Arteta said in his press conference that basically what Saka, Odegaard and them attackers did last season was an anomaly. So if you knew that was not a fluke, but that was a rarity, why did you not press to sign a striker in the summer? And if you did and there wasn't finances, then we need to look at people, because I believe obviously in today's day and age there needs to be you need to play a couple of roles, and I do like that, but there's a lot of players that can play in many roles, but what are they? I like Martinelli. I think one day he could be a striker. Right now, are you that? Trossard can play as a false nine, but the conditions need to be right. As you saw against Liverpool, Havertz can play as a false nine, but he can't put the ball in the back of the net. Jesus can do everything but put the ball in the back of the net. There's issues there. And I do think when you look at the fallout with injuries, when you look at, putting certain players in boots they can't fill, indirectly, Mikel Arteta signed up for this when he assembled this squad. In the same way I praise him when things go well, I have to ask questions when there's holes. I do think there's people that love the negative and Arteta can do no right. I do think there's Arteta sexuals where once again Arteta could poo in his hands, clap, and people say that's amazing. I think some Arsenal fans are a bit weird in that any question mark over the manager is seen as hating or asking questions and things. I want Arteta to succeed. If he doesn't succeed, find a new one. I have nothing to gain by Mikel Arteta failing or succeeding, excluding obviously Arsenal winning. I don't care about being right or wrong. I want Arsenal to get where they need to be. And this is why you have to ask questions. And where it comes to Mikel Arteta, you can't big this guy up, say he's the guy and praise him. And then when things go well, try to absolve him and say it's the players. Arteta coached the 4-0. Yeah, in many ways, there's been times he kind of has where we ain't put the ball in the back of the net. But then playing devil's advocate, good or bad, everything is your fault as a manager. A team is a reflection. Why are they not putting the ball in the back of the net? I think a lot of that is players have lost their shooting boots. Players, we ain't got a proven guy that's going to bag. And psychologically, I don't see players playing with a smile on their face and things like that. And these players need to get themselves into that headspace. A bad run of form don't make you bad players or a bad team. A good run of form don't make you good players or a good team. Pressure is a privilege. Good and bad. You're in a privileged position. How much many people would love to effing play for this football club and talk about winning Prems and Champions Leagues and all of these things. Even under Mikel Arteta, there's been many people that aren't necessarily part of this thing like that anymore. Ramsdale got alienated. Xhaka's gone. Aubameyang's gone. Ainsley Maitland-Niles. This is what not signing players has. Because I was sat here, I was thinking, boy, imagine Ainsley was here. We could have just ran that at fullback. This is what Arsenal is making me do. It's a privilege to play for this football club. It's a privilege to be fighting for the top end of stuff. And anyone who can't take the heat, come out of the kitchen. You need to get yourself in that headspace. One thing I did like when things weren't as rosy as at this football club, mainly around when we bought Ramsdale and White in, is that the club didn't really listen to the outside noise. I don't think they are now, but to a degree, they don't live on an island, so they must have, man. It's a madness, really and truly. Big up you lot, man. Pursue my rights. I'll take your word for that, man. I'll take your word for that, my guy. I'm leaning towards Solanke rather than Isak. He's more of what we need. But if Eddie leaves in the summer, we could get one. Josh, I can't co-sign that big homie, but I salute you. I don't think we're getting Isak, but Isak Solanke, bro, I don't know who Solanke is. Guendouzi would be giving us more than Havertz, Nelson, Smith from Vieira. I don't know, man. It's all coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just remember everything I've said. Quote me on this. If we don't get a good striker now, we will win nothing. And that's very bad. And it's all Arteta's fault. He's doing too much BS. I've said I don't think we're achieving anything major until a striker arrives at the club. Vlahovic would be amazing for us, I feel. Spurs making moves in this window. They really want top 4. Jesus will become a winger for us in the long run and probably a squad player. Rightly so. If you don't bag, it's a myth. 5 points off top. I don't look at the league table. In a title race, we cannot give up. It's only January. Get Raya back at Brentford will save us 40 mil. That's a myth. We've obviously committed to that now. So they're getting ran there 27 mil. Trossard and Jorginho need to go in the summer. I'm holding on to Trossard for another year. I do think one of Jorginho and Partey has to stay as well. But I would like 2 midfielders. And I'm not trying to catch Arteta out, Rambo. Arteta opened his mouth and said that. So if you're saying things and it's not correlating, what's going on, man? How do us as fans know how much the club have to spend this Jan to stay under FFP? We don't. And that's why some articles seem more optimistic. Some seem more pessimistic. I don't care. Just make things happen. There's a difference between trying to sign players and actually doing it. Because it does feel we invent problems of our own back, really. If we got rid of Ramsdale, would you lot take Pickford for backup? I don't think Pickford's going to want to come and be second choice, really. Do your Nana links sound like fake news? I hear that. DG, which particular country would you scout players other than South America, Europe, African countries? For me, Japan, their football education looks very good in my eyes. I'm kind of copping out, but the Asian market, Japan, all them countries there, really and truly. Japan seem to have some very intelligent players. Go find me a Tomiyasu or something. Salvio looks decent. DG scrolling the opposite way. Hey, man, chill, man. We're not running nowhere, chill. I can't lie. No, lie. I'm not, the knife crime jokes. You need to be a bit dark in some regards at the top and all the way. Diego Costa, but some of the arts. Eddie is too nice. He's not bad, just too nice. I don't even think for Eddie it's a nice thing. You're just not levels. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just not the guy, really. This idea of young teams winning champs in the Prem hasn't been done too often. You need experience to win. I hear that. Danny Elmo would be lovely, but you're talking big bucks. Danny Almo will 1,000% be an Arsenal player within the next 12 months. Heard it here first. I hope you're right, man. I hope you're in the know. I hope that's Danny Almo's girlfriend's burner account, but I don't know. Frimpong, Tony, Zubamendi, Diamande, Neto, all by at least the summer would sort out all of our problems. Big money regardless, man. Yeah, we shouldn't have kept Emre. Board definitely could have backed him more. Some shocking signings during his tenure. And that's why I'm on to Arteta more, because obviously Emre could have got more of a tune out of Pepe, but Emre's asking for Partey. He's not getting given him. Emre's asking for Zaha. You're bringing in Pepe. Whatever Mikel Arteta has wanted, definitely in his last 18 months, he's got. Really. I'd absolutely love Vlahovic style, but he broke my heart. Took round the houses, man. The Vlahovic stuff, on one hand, it seemed like he always said, I'm going Juventus, and we're still trying to sign him. The striker market is crap, but make it happen, really and truly. There's strikers everywhere. In the next 12 months, we'll be same way Boniface and these guys come out of nowhere. Do your job, really. You know, you've got people that are paid to watch and scout all different positions and leagues and find strengths and weaknesses. We're just ignorant fans. You know, they've got all the software and the scouts and the contacts. Make it happen, really. That's why you're there. The way you're pronouncing Boniface is mad. Allow me, man. Pronunciation, please allow me. Yep, DG, those names are the level that are needed for us to improve. Time to go back to basics for Palace. 4-3-3, Jorginho, Rice, Odegaard, and get back to winning ways. Wouldn't mind Zerki as well, but I don't think he's the answer. But even him, he's got to have featured somewhere on some scouting reports. I wouldn't mind Wang. Thoughts on Onana links? I'm not moved. I don't think he's a difference maker, but if we signed him, I don't really believe in our midfield options. At least I know Onana's going to stay fit, IC3, 20-odd years of age, early 20s. I think there's a role for you lot to play. Do I think I look at Onana and think, right, him and Declan Rice with Odegaard, that's the thing? No, I want Onana, Rice, a next 8, and we move in it. Like, I'm on it. Anthony Gordon, Odegaard, I'll take your word for it. That's a bit weird. That's a bit of a weird comment. We're going to just block you for that. I hope it is, man. Pepe is a better player than Nelson and probably on the same level as Trossard. He might very well be, and Arteta's going to have to hold the music as to why it ain't really worked. But at the end of the day, there's no point in me to whether for what it's worth, I think Pepe could have stayed and been a decent option. I would have, you lot know, I almost shed a tear when Guendouzi went. I would have loved to have kept Granit Xhaka. I don't think Aubameyang had to be this way, even though it is what it is. You know, I felt a bit sorry when Emre got clipped. But at the end of the day, they've gone now, isn't it? Like, we need to deal with what's here, really. It's not hard to be better than Reece Nelson. Respectfully, because I love Nelson, but clearly Pepe's better than you. Like, Galea from Real Madrid on loan would be lit, but unless there's a buy option, I don't want to. We need to develop our own kids and our own players and our own unfinished products before we start fixing up players for Madrid. Some of our best performances this season have come with Jorginho starting. Fans in a hurry to sell him, but unless we get a proper centre mid, we shouldn't. I'd take Pickford for a starter if Ramsdale left. Nah, gee, I'm pursuing with Ryan, man. If I'm completely honest. Still can't believe we are in the second half of the season. Need some big second halves from certain players. Looking at Vieira, Zini, Smith Rowe, Martinelli. I can't believe we're in the new year and our top goal scorers in the Premier League have 5 and 6. That's crazy. Who's better, Guirassy or Boniface in Germany? I'd rather Boniface. Now, DG, not matter how impossible it sounds, we must win all the remaining games. It's naive to assume we're going to win them remaining games, but I'm on it. If Big Ange and Emre finish above Arteta, serious conversations need to be had, DG. Probably, because that would tell me you haven't elevated what you was doing last season. Arteta has maxed out. We got a great team now. We just need a proven winner like Ancelotti, Simeone to come in. I like Simeone, but it's not for Arsenal. Ancelotti, you've just signed a new deal at Real Madrid, really and truly. So I can't really see it. What other comments have we got? Relying on 22-year-olds on the wings to score all our goals is a problem. Tell them again, man. Tell them again. Tell them again. So, yeah, man, we need to make things happen. What are we saying about Frimpong links? In wise words of DG, let's see some defensive highlights first. It seems like he's better in the final third, but just bring him, man. IC3, just bring him. That's enough for me, man. Any signing is a gamble, but higher profile signings have more of a record. There you have it. There you have it. And for the Bruno Gomares shout out Dermot. For the Bruno Gomares shouts, I think we all know we're dream chasing there, innit? Like, the dream is free. The arse was sold separately. We'd love to be proven wrong, but dream chasing. I'd love to wake up and we said, you know what, Todd Burry settings, unlimited cash. But even that, Arteta money is not the thing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, Arteta. Like, can you even be trusted with the bands, really and truly? Because I like the Declan Rice signing. I think Zinchenko and Jesus and Ramsdale and Benjamin White and Odegaard, you know, a couple of these things have worked out. But You know, Kai Havertz ain't doing bad, but he's not moving the needle. 30 million on Fabio Vieira, not really saying anything in that regards. Lokonga's not a part of the team, but that says it all. If he was from next Yaya Toure to not even involved and not really pulling up trees at Luton, what's going on there? Somebody, I know people say, oh yeah, Runnison was suggested by the goalkeeping coach, sack him. I'm sorry, you know, the coaching staff, whoever suggested that, needs a box and needs to be fined for that. But when Runnison was suggested, Edu, Arteta, the coaching staff, everybody sat down in the room and must have seen the highlights, and nobody said, "Oh man, shit," you know. So everybody has to share that L. At the end of the day, the goalkeeping coach didn't sign the contract. Let's be real, Matt Turner. We don't need to pretend he was good anymore as well. Essentially, I could see Gomares joining City, boy. Arsenal is just lacking quality players as usual, boy. Rice ain't as good as we think. The only thing, the guy only passes sideways and no creativity. I'm sorry, but Declan Rice has played 200 times in the Premier League, 200 odd times for West Ham, been a permanent fixture for West Ham in that number 6. Where did we expect him to be this extravagant passer? And even that, it has improved by the assists he's got, by his forward passing, and him actually being a lot higher up the pitch. I'm not saying he's going to turn into Kevin De Bruyne, but I said next season is where you'd see a real improvement. But again, accept a man for what he is and find that number 8, really and truly. Declan Rice is even better than I thought, really and truly. West Ham fans were banging on about him, and they were right, really and truly. Declan Rice is the least of our issues. But again, Declan Rice is not Thomas Partey. Don't have that swagger. That's never been Declan Rice. Declan Rice is a piano pusher. That's not to disrespect him. But when you're in the midfield, England don't even do this, but folded in the 10, for example, Bellingham and Rice. Rice is the chaperone. Bellingham, you do the wavy stuff. Foden, you do the Starboy stuff. If Declan Rice can do something quality, great. You know, you can check the archives from the West Ham days. They said he's a better passer than people give him credit for, which is true. But what? It's crazy. Man can't sign Declan Rice and expect him to break lines. And even that, I've said this in a previous vid. In recent games, Saliba, Gabriel, Benjamin White, Declan Rice, why are they breaking the lines? Other players are hiding, and these players are not paid to do that. We're expecting Declan Rice to break lines, Jesus to wake up and start scoring goals, Zinchenko to be half decent defensively, Thomas Partey and Tomiyasu to stay fit. We've seen this movie before. Why don't we accept Dons for what they are? You know, big up Guendouzi, man. But he's at Lazio, so he seems to be fighting a lot of his team. Zubamendi, get that done tomorrow, man. R.I.P. Beckenbauer is my thoughts. I'd love Zubamendi perhaps and go for another 8. But I'm looking at this window extremely likely getting no one, honestly. If we don't get anyone, then you ain't learnt your lessons from when we missed out the top 4 to Spurs, really. Because the moment the summer window closed, these lot should have been dotting I's and crossing T's and assessing targets. You're right. I was ignorant to think we didn't need a striker. I thought the goals could be spread between Saka, Nelly, Jesus, Trossard, Odegaard. I also thought the defense was finally sorted. I got it all wrong. You're not wrong, because there's many elements of such, but there's too much volatility. It's not like Mana, Aubameyang, Kane, Son, seasoned veterans. It was always going to be volatile. Saka, you know, I still think his statistics are still there, but we've been running that man into the ground, and for years he's been pulling this club. So naturally the juice has run out. Nelly and Odegaard, in terms of goal scoring, announced themselves for the first time last season, which is why I said in August, I won't be surprised if they get them goals or don't get them goals. The goals still need to be spread out. If we get whatever striker you lot want, we can't expect. Arteta himself said we need to score 100 goals. Every serious team gets that. One man ain't going to do that alone. It's about the collective. So all of them need to find their firing boots. If we found this, you look at our last few games, definitely the biggest theme has been putting the ball in the back of the net. But what if we sign that striker and he has an off day, which he's human, he will. What else is going on? Defense is improved, but it's still extremely naive. I do think there's a more willingness to want to defend. There's a better attitude, but it's still not there. Vlahovic, Martinez, Caicedo, all players that would have been at the club if Arteta got his first targets. I hear that, but what play, you know, at the same time, what teams really do go and get their first? So you have to miss out on things a lot of the time, really. Caicedo, Brighton told us it's not going to happen, really. Lautaro Martinez, I'm not sure on that. Vlahovic, he didn't bang, really. I do wonder what would have been the case had we have signed Schollerbeck or Lissandro Martinez, because I don't think necessarily Zinchenko would be here, if I'm honest. Hello, weird comments, man. Hello, weird comments. Make sure you're smashing the like button, especially if you're saying a couple of them weird things. Ultimate Justice, appreciate you for subscribing with Amazon Prime. I've just seen that on Twitch. Make sure you're doing up that one on Twitch and all those things. 5 more likes until we have 100. Saliba has the potential to be world class. I hear that. Man are turning on Rice, bro. There's many problems more than Rice. I kind of allow Rice, Saka, and Saliba. Like, you've all got question marks, but in the least of the problems. We know Rice ain't no Rodri. Like, who else is Rodri's the best in the game at that, really and truly. And Rice is never going to be the finished article in that regard. I would say, I just don't think he has the ability to thread those passes. And Rice is almost learning how to play in a different game. Sixes aren't supposed to be breaking lines every time we have the ball. Partey will cost us at times with his aggressive passing. And as great as Rodri is, if Rodri's job in that 6 role was to break lines consistently, how good would it be? How good would he be? Because he's not going to break lines all the time. Obviously, Rodri is clear of Declan Rice, but you get the point. Martinez would have been good, to be fair. Looks like he's injury prone, though. He might do, but it seems like Lisandro Martinez injuries, it's more of his style, like he's combative and things. No, I think if you sign Zubimendi, Rice is a bit more going forward. But that's why you need a squad. I think you need 4 30 midfielders, guys that are going to, you got Odegaard in the 10 and then the partnership behind. This is where I think you need a Declan Rice, a Thomas Partey, a Zubimendi, and someone else. 4 decent options. And then if Arteta gets that for me, then by all means, do your experiment with Havertz. Do what you're doing with Smith Rowe. Do what you're doing with Fabio Vieira and Odegaard and the rest of it. Football needs to get over Busquets. I hear that. Rice is a natural defender and very good IQ. I see him improving next season, but I'm more annoyed with how we defend set pieces. Our scoring and defending is the issue. Rice stats are where they are supposed to be. Improved major passing wise. Poor convo. Don't entertain this convo. I hear that, man. I hear that. Nah, man, but big up winning ways. Everyone's allowed a thought. The biggest joke is Arteta saying we should score 100 goals, but signs Jesus and renews Eddie Nketiah's contract. Big joke thing. Then people start blaming our best players. Madness. I hear it. I must admit, though, for all Jesus' faults, I think you're a bit harsh on Jesus because he don't score, and I'm onto him for that. But least of our problems. This is what I mean. Arsenal's problem, or definitely under Mikel Arteta, we take decent squad players, try and make them first names on the team sheet or difference makers, and then we're surprised that they're not cut up to task, really and truly. We take guys that are good for 10, 15 games, start looking at you to play 10, 20, 25, 30, and we're surprised when ultimately you're not doing the job. Partey at the top of his game makes us a better side, but it's never happening for him. I don't disagree with a lot of the Partey thing, but I'm done with it. Like, what, you're going to come back for 4 or 5 games, get injured again? Like, it's long now, man. It's long now. Rice is a great runner with the ball from deep. Wonder if he can develop it in the opponent's half. Jesus can cut on board of him. Harsh, man. We should be seeing if Frankie de Jong's available. Dream chasing. Rice has been our best player. The problem is the striker. The problem is everyone. If there's a single player in that squad and the manager that can say, I am doing everything, I am giving everything, there's not a single game that I can improve at or aspect of my game or a game I couldn't have done better, fair enough. Look how stacked Liverpool are up front and they have Salah. Imagine us having Jota and Gakpo. Bro, if we had Jota, it means someone else not scoring against us, but you get it. Like, and even Liverpool are an anomaly in that with a relatively small squad, they achieved a lot, but they had that experience. And even Klopp, he's understanding in the last few years, I need some depth. There's going to be a point if they haven't already. Liverpool fans are going to say, wait, we need a 6. And you'd imagine Klopp's on the case. They tried to get Caicedo, they tried to get Lavia. I don't know what they're going to do in January or the summer. But yeah, man, it is what it is. Rice has been here less than 6 months after years of playing Moyes ball and people already turning on him. I can't lie, I cut up a clip from a live stream regarding that and I'm going to release it because I pre-guessed this sort of talk. Partey is barely available. Jota is a monster. He is, man. One thing no one seems to realize is that the game is in famine of elite strikers and number 8s, but the younger ones are elite, but they'll take 2 years to mature. So what do you do in the present? It's a question for Arteta and Edu in the recruitment team, but a good point. Jesus should definitely be a winger. Bro, Jesus should be our rotation striker and a wideman. Just take obviously you still need to score, but take the burden of scoring goals off him because you've never did it. Even when man speak about Jesus before he signed for the club, when he's bigged up with Brazil, when he's bigged up with City, he's described as a defensive striker and a warrior and things. Man don't talk about him scoring goals. So take what Jesus is good at, put him in the squad, but find the cold-hearted killer, whoever that is, wherever that is. Because there's no way around it, We need to find that. If you want to do what Liverpool and City have done, we need a striker. I don't think a striker walks in tomorrow and all our problems are fixed, but you get the point. Paqueta would fit this team like a glove. What's up with his allegations? Currently injured. DG, Jesus himself says scoring goals is not his strong point. Come on, DG. You don't want your striker to be coming out saying that he's not a gunman. I get why some of your fans are not frustrated with him. I've echoed that. And to a degree, I don't want to hear that. But at the same time, people ask for footballers to be honest. When you look at what he actually said, he said, I know I need to score goals. I want to score goals, but it's not a strong point of mine. He's not lying. You go on transfer market, you've never been a gunman. Of course, it does my head in hearing that. Ramsdale saying he can't concentrate. Zinni talking about defending. But when you break it down, it's actually not what they said. And I'm not being funny. I won't say Jesus is the least of our problems, but we have seen what Jesus was doing at City. When has he ever really got strong goal return? How can I be surprised? And I'm happy with Gabriel Jesus. Yes, two truths can live in the same realm. You need to bag. You need to learn how to bag. But you're what, 25, 26? You're not showing me that you could do that. When you do score, you score the hard finishes and miss the easy ones, which for a striker, the majority of Salah, Haaland, Kane's goals, Aubameyang's, they weren't glamorous goals. I'm not knocking it. That's what you need to be able to do. I think Jesus has been a great signing for us and he's lit. But we need that goal scorer. That's why I don't know if even in an ideal world, are we going to sign a striker and a winger? Will the club sign a striker and say, you know what, Jesus, it's a wide thing? I'm not sure. But we do need a goal scorer. You look at with Firmino. Liverpool fans would look at Firmino a lot different if you did what Arsenal did. If you never had Salah and Mane or they weren't bagsmen and you're looking at Firmino to bag. It's not a strong point of his game. When he does score, it's saucy. And that's where that's the difference. We need to understand what people are doing. Appreciate that early doors football. Appreciate that. Jorginho and Onana in our midfield does make us any better as a team. It's just a numbers thing. They ain't good at attacking or defending. I think you mean doesn't. Yeah, or am I wrong? I'm not sure. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. Lovely talking points. Tired to get upset when Dons ain't there. Got to accept things for what they are. I'm not turning on Rice. He just don't have good enough IQ on the ball. He even said he wants to, and he did. And I remember at West Ham, he said he wants to look at Jorginho. But are you really going to? I think he has improved a bit. But are you really going to turn up and look like an English Jorginho or significantly better in a matter of months? I'm not sure. And again, by all means, put Declan Rice on this apprenticeship. Teach him how to do that. But don't just sign him and think he can do all of these things. This is where Arsenal are going wrong. But we've done this several times, man. We've done this several times. Defensive striker is hilarious. Bro, defensive striker is hilarious. It means you're not 30, bro. Jesus can be a tug. He can be part of it. But cold-hearted killer, he's never did it. I'd love to wake up and see him do it. Depth will be an issue. And when we do need good depth, not to be harsh with Kirill, I just need a lot more. First half against Liverpool, I thought Kirill was best she looked in a while. And then it reverted back to type. Pascal Gross on loan, wouldn't mind. Rice is one of the most technically aware players on the field. Why are we talking about his IQ? Well, these times we might need to get a lesser known striker who's doing well in the Dutch league or French league or something. Forget big names. But even that, if you were to get that Jimenez youth from Feyenoord, they're seeing, English, 100 million. They got to be somewhere, man. I'm happy I'm not Edu or Arteta. I mean, of course he's worth. Listen, in this day and age, yeah. Any player comes out with a comment, your words are going to be taken out of context. The paragraph of what you said, people are going to find the most engaging sentence, like what you saw of Jesus. That's what's going to get clipped up. You might talk for 3 minutes, 30 seconds. That's what gets it, really and truly. We say we want players to be honest and talk. When man talk is an issue. What top 6 manager do you think will be sacked before the end of the season? I don't think any, really. I don't think Arteta will get this sack, even though there's current pressure on him. I don't think Spurs will sack Postecoglou, and he's actually doing all right and needs to be given the luxury of a full season. It could be Ten Hag. It could be. I think they should allow Poch, but it could. I'd probably, if I had to bet money, probably between Ten Hag and Poch. Isak can't help Arsenal harsh. I've said this before. We'll say it again. Put Havertz up top with Jesus just behind him. I hear it, man, but I'm not really on it, man. Havertz, you might as well just stay in the 8 role for me at this moment. Ten Hag is gone for me. I hope he stays, though. We need him. He ain't a shooter, and he knows it. He's never been a shooter, man. Like, I'd love to wake up and you can score goals. I don't know if it's you ain't got the ability. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know if it's because of the fact that you're never in the box. I don't know. And to a degree, I don't really care now. Sign someone. Jesus, you showed me you're here for the Brazilian thing. You will press, you will work hard, put your body on the line, link up play. You do all of that. You're not on scoring. So let's find someone who will, innit? It's as simple as that, in my opinion. Anyways, football's never that simple, but you get the point. But with that being said, though, people, we've been here for an hour and 13 odd minutes. I appreciate you lot's difference of opinions, listening to what I have to say, engaging, and all of that good sort of stuff, people. Again, any Arsenal talking points, news, etc., you can rest assured that I'll get live streams and videos out for you lot. You lot take care, stay blessed. Again, journey to 70,000, so make sure you're subscribing on YouTube, Twitch gang. Don't feel left out. because I really appreciate you lot. I hope you and your loved ones are in good health. You know, even the, you know, I didn't even read them out, but a couple of you are moving very brazy in the comments, you know, some really crazy things. But nonetheless, big up everyone, man. If Mikel Arteta needs a fullback, shout me in it.
Against this right back, Charlie.
There's always just that active red flag defending. I think it's like
Tongue